Hello dear students, welcome back. Today we will be studying passive voice 1 and passive voice 2. You most probably remember this topic, grammar topic from B1, but we are going to review and restudy this passive voice again. Okay, what is passive voice? First of all, for example, if we have a verb in our sentence that can get an object, we can change the subject with the object and make it passive voice. So, what do I mean by that? Is I cut my hair every month, let's say. As you can see here, our verb cut can get an object that is influenced by our verb. So what passive voice is basically, we take this object that is influenced by our verb to the beginning of my sentence as our subject of the sentence, my hair, and then I use be verb 3 form. And in this case, in this particular example, we have present simple as our tense. So either I'm gonna use am, is, or are. The correct one is here for my hair is cuts. This is an irregular verb and the verb 3 form is also cut every month by me. We don't necessarily have to add this, but if it is important that who happens, who makes real the verb is important, then we can add using by. For example, a new bridge let's start with the active one. The state builds a new bridge. So as you can see, again, I have an object which is affected, influenced by our verb. So we are going to take our object and make it our new passive voice sentences subject, a new bridge. Then I am going to use be verb 3 form. I should look at the tense of the sentence. As you can see here, verb 2 is used. So I understand that this is a past simple sentence. So I'm either gonna use was or were. In this example, was is the correct one. And build is also an irregular verb. Verb 2 and verb 3 form is built. Was built. So let's do a quick scheme that we can understand better. We said that we are going to use be verb 3, and one of the first things that we should pay attention to is the object of the sentence, and then our tense. So this is our first clue, and the second clue is our tense. If we're talking about a present simple as a tense in our active sentence, then if I want to make it passive, I should use am, is, or are verb 3. If in active sentence we have past simple, we should use either was or were verb 3. And if I am talking about present perfect, we should use have been or has been verb 3. What else we have? Past perfect. In this case, we are going to use had been verb 3. If I am talking about future simple, which is will, as you know, we will use will be verb 3. This is a quick note that can be useful for you. As I have said, we should first look for the object of the sentence and then tense. And also a quick note, one more quick note. If a verb can't get an object, we can't make that sentence passive. What do I mean by that? For example, swim. Can you say, I am swimming pool? No. Swim is a verb that cannot get an object. Or run. Can I ask this verb, what are you running? No. Or can I ask this one, what are you swimming? No. If the answer is no, then that verb cannot get passive, cannot get an object. What are you running, for example? Or, for example, let's look at this one. Listen. If I ask you, what are you listening? I can get an answer to that. For example, a podcast, music, etc. So, if you can get an answer to this question, then that verb can get an object. But, as you can see here, these don't make sense. So, I cannot make any sentence passive if these verbs are the main verb of our sentence. For example, in this one, as you can see, our verb cannot get an object. And as you can see, again, there's not an object in this sentence. So I cannot make passive this sentence. But if I say, I am listening to a podcast, this can get a passive voice. So, let's give some examples. I trim my dog every week. As you can see, we have an object and a verb. So, the first rule was to find the objects, and the second one was tense, finding the tense of the sentence. I take the object and make it our new sentence's subject. And the tense we have here is present simple. So either I'm going to use am, is, are, and in this one, is the correct one. My dog is trimmed, our verb 3, and this is our be form. This is a regular verb, that's why I only added ed. My dog is trimmed every week. And if I want to give the information of who does it, by who, I can add by me. But there's also a quick note. Here, as you can see, if I'm not talking about a name, a particular name, I have to use an object pronoun. So, my package will be delivered by the postman tomorrow. And this time, I gave you the passive voice sentence. Now we will turn this into an active one. This subject actually is not the one who making the verb. So we will start by who does this action. The postman. And then I will again find the tense. Will deliver my package tomorrow. In some questions, in some tests or exams, also this can be asked to you, because they won't always give you the active one and ask you the passive one, but sometimes it will be like this. A new mall was built last year by them. So here again I have a passive sentence that I should transform to active. I will start with they, then I will look at the tense, which is past simple. They built a new mall, then the object, last year. As you can see, this is the passive form and this is the active form. My mother baked this cake. Or let's change the tense this time. Will bake a cake. I am starting with the object. A cake will be baked by my mother. As you can see, firstly, I found the object of the sentence and then tense, which is future simple. And what we use in future simple will be verb 3. The dog attacked or has attacked one of my neighbors. Let's see. First things first, we are going to find the object. One of my neighbors is our object. The tense is present perfect. So I will either use has been verb 3 or have been verb 3. Let's start with writing our object. One of my neighbors. This may confuse you a little, but you should not fall into the trap to this S, because we're talking about only one person, one of my neighbors, only one person, has been attacked by the dog. They estimate that, for example, let's say climate change will be more harmful in 10 years. So, this is kind of more complex than the ones that we have studied so far, but it is actually pretty easy when you divide into the things that I have told you. First things first, you need to find the object. What is estimated? We should find this one. And you can find that here. What are we going to do here is that it is, or that is, estimated that, because in here we have a present simple. And actually our object is that. What you see here is the defining of that. So we have a noun clause here. So this is more than enough for us to be an object. I put it is estimated that climate change will be more harmful in 10 years. Like this. For example, scientists have predicted that humankind will be, let's say, will be in danger due to sun ray exposure. Here you can see a pretty long sentence, but as in the last example, we are going to only take that as an object and put it in our subject placement. It is predicted by the scientists that humankind will be in danger due to sun ray exposure. It doesn't matter how long the sentence is, you should only find this guy and then start your sentence with that one as it. Find the tense, then the rest will come. So, our topic number 2 is passive voice 2. In passive voice 2, we're talking about progressive tenses. For example, present progressive, past progressive, past perfect progressive, present perfect progressive, and etc. And the main rule here is be plus being plus verb 3. So in present progressive, we will use am or is or are, being verb 3. In past progressive, we will use was or were with being verb 3. In past perfect progressive, we will use had been, being verb 3. And in present perfect progressive, we will use have or has been, being verb 3. This is a basic rule, not the all tenses, by the way, but this can give you an idea about how we're doing these passive voice too. For example, they are watering our garden. This is my object. Our garden is being watered, if you want to add, by them. In this example, our tense is present progressive, and I used is because it's the correct one to use with our garden subject, being, and then verb 3. My mother was sewing a napkin, for example. Our object is a napkin. And let's have a look at the tense. It's past progressive. A napkin was being sewn by my mother. Let's do one more. My sister has been planning a wedding for months. So, our object is a wedding. Our tense is present, perfect, progressive. So I will use has or have been, being, verb 3. And the correct one with this subject is has been, being, this is a regular verb, planned by my sister for months. Students are organizing a charity event for homeless. So, our object here is a charity event for homeless. You can see that our tense is present progressive or continuous. A charity event. Again, you shouldn't be fall into the trap of this as because we're talking about a charity event. Is being organized by students. Professors have been working on an essay that can help or that can cure cancer. Our object here is an essay that can cure cancer. Our tense here is present, perfect, progressive. So I will use has been, being, and our verb is worked by professors. So, a few more examples. My doctor gave me a prescription that can help my migraine. Let's look at the objects here. A prescription that can help my migraine. What is the time? What is the tense? Past simple. So I will use was, give, gave, given by my doctor. By the jury. Prime Minister changed the salaries. Salaries were changed by the Prime Minister. A new law has been decided by the courts. So this is the passive one, and now we will transform this to an active sentence. The court has decided a new law. It is estimated by the scientists that we will have a water shortage in 20 years. Let's turn this one into an active one. Scientists estimated that we will have a water shortage in 20 years. Her salary was increased by the boss. The boss increased her salary. So let's do a quick review of what we have studied so far. Okay, we have started with passive voice, which is basically taking the object to the beginning of our sentence and making it the subject, and then using be verb 3 form, depending on the tense of the sentence. We have made a chart here. For example, if the active sentence's tense is present simple, we use am or is or are verb 3. In past simple, we use either was or were and then verb 3. In present perfect, we either use have or has been verb 3. In past perfect, we use always, had been, verb 3. In future simple, will be, verb 3. And we have talked about some clues. First thing you should do is to find the object and then find the tense. But we cannot turn every active sentence to a passive one because some of our verbs cannot get an object. And we gave example to that. For example, swim or run. You should ask the verb this question: what are you swimming? Or what are you running? And if it makes no sense and you cannot get an answer, then that verb cannot get an object. But for example, with listen or eat, when we ask the same question, we can get an answer, a logical answer. And that way, you can understand which ones we can make passive or which ones we cannot. For example, I'm swimming in the pool. We cannot make this passive because of the verb. Or, for example, we don't necessarily have to have an object in a sentence. Even if we are using a verb that can get an object. For example, I am eating right now. In this sentence, there is no object. It doesn't matter if the verb can get an object or not because there's not an object. So we cannot do this in passive. Then we have given some examples. My dog is trimmed every week. Our tense is present simple, and I've examined my subject and the proper be form is, and I used verb 3. And if I want to give the information who made the verb happen, the action happen, we can add it to the sentence using by. If we're not talking about a noun, a particular name, then we are going to use object pronoun. My package will be delivered by the postman. You will not always see active and then they want you to transform it into the passive, but sometimes they will give you the passive ones and you should be the one who writes the active form. So in this one, what we're going to do if we want to write an active sentence from transferring from a passive one, will first find the subject, the by subject, and then the tense, and then the object. Then you can add place, time, etc. A new mall was built last year by them. Again, first I put the subject, verb, but it should be in harmony with our tense, object, and time. I mean, if there is place, you can always add it. My mother will bake a cake. In this one, you can see an active one. A cake will be baked by my mother. The dog has attacked one of my neighbors. You should be careful which be form you're choosing. For example, in here, probably most of the students could pick have, but you should pay attention to every detail of the sentence. One of my neighbors has been attacked by the dog. They estimate that climate change will be more harmful in 10 years. So when we're talking about a noun clause sentence, what you have here actually is referring to that. So our object is that. And I want to make it the subject of the sentence, so I use it. It is estimated that climate change will be more harmful in 10 years. Or I can give you a subject, a specific one. Scientists have predicted that humankind will be in danger due to sun ray exposure. It is predicted by the scientists. I can put this one after the predicted, estimated, foreseen, it doesn't matter, that humankind will be in danger due to sun ray exposure. Then we have talked about passive voice 2. Passive voice 2 is when we are transforming active sentences whose tenses are progressives to passive ones. And our rule here is be, being, then verb 3. In present progressive, am is are, being, verb 3. In past progressive, either was or were, being, verb 3. Had been in past perfect progressive, being, verb 3. Present perfect progressive, have or has, been, being, verb 3. They are watering our garden. Our garden is our be form, being, and verb 3 by them. My mother was sewing a napkin. A napkin was being sewn by my mother. My sister has been planning. So our tense here is present perfect progressive. So I will either use have been or has been, being, verb 3. A wedding, this is a singular subject, so I'm going to use has. A wedding has been being planned by my sister for months. Students are organizing a charity event for homeless. It can be a long sentence, doesn't matter. The thing that you should find is the object. A charity event for homeless. This is our object/subject of the sentences is being organized because our tense is present progressive by students. Professors have been working on an essay that can cure cancer. An essay that can cure cancer has been being worked by professors. So, being worked on by professors. In this one, we again have a present perfect progressive. So I used has been, being, verb 3. My doctor gave me a prescription that can help my migraine. A prescription that can help my migraine was given by my doctor. Okay, thank you for tuning in today for our lesson. I hope you understood and enjoyed it. Make sure you study and review all the things that we have learned so far. Thank you. See you on our next lesson.